Hello and welcome to the latest in our food law video series. And today Katrina and I are having a discussion about the consultation that's just been launched on foods that are high in fat, salt and sugar, so-called HFSS foods, and a consultation looking to ban the advertising of these foods, which I think, Katrina, closes on the 22nd of December of this year.
That's right, Katie.
So the consultation is interesting. It brings about a number of points that, and some of which perhaps we've not seen before in relation to advertising. But can you just run through some of the key points that people need to be aware of that are outlined in the consultation?
Absolutely. So this builds on Boris's announcement in the summer that the government wanted to bring in a watershed ban and for TV adverts, and he said at the same time that they would be consulting on this total online ban. And the consultation, unsurprisingly, says that there would be a total ban on advertising of HFSS products on online which targeted UK consumers. It also says that where you've got a brand which is synonymous with an HFSS product, there would be some restrictions on that advertising, specifically that it shouldn't be findable other than a very precise search for that advert.
What do you mean by synonymous there, Katrina? Just
Well,
explain that.
well, assuming we adopt the existing test, there's two limbs to this. So where you've got a sort of a parent brand, you look at the variants under that, and where you've got more than 50% or 50% or more of the variants at HFSS, then that parent brand is considered to be HFSS. Where you've got a company that has the same name as an HFSS brand, which comes up quite a lot in the food and beverage industry, there's a quite complex test to work out whether or not that advert is caught, which sort of looks at the content of the advert and, what is being communicated.
So, okay, what about online platforms though? There's some discussion there, isn't there, as to limiting what platforms and actually more broadly what can be said in online sales.
Yes, and this will be quite a big shift in that the consultation is eliciting opinions on whether it's right to extend the obligations not just to the food and beverage company that is putting out the advertising, but actually to put responsibilities on the platform in relation to the advertising and making sure that HFSS advertising is not on their platform, which is of course with the general trend of digital regulation, but it would be quite a step change in terms of the UK regime. There's also a concern around e-commerce because, of course, a lot of food is now sold online through grocery channels or even through brand owners' own websites. And the consultation has suggested a carve out for e commerce, but it's a very narrow carve out. It would simply allow the communication of factual information, which is pretty much limited to the mandatory information on a label. So that would be things like an ingredients list, nutrition declaration, which means that you couldn't have any promotions in the sense of buy one, get one free, but also you couldn't have any promotional language describing what's good about that product or why you might want to eat it, which is would mean that HFSS brands would be in a very different position legally to anything else that's sold through e-commerce.
So just to be clear, so if I wanted to go on to to an online supermarket page and buy myself some chocolate, the only information about that chocolate is going to be the mandatory information, the nutritional information, none of the kind of marketing speak as to the benefits of eating the chocolate or the delights of eating the chocolate, maybe I should say.
So that is absolutely the proposal that's in the consultation. Whether that will come to pass, we don't know. But I mean, this is one of the issues that I think food and beverage manufacturers, but also platforms and e-commerce platforms in particular, will be very keen to respond on to get their views heard on how that would work in practice.
It does seem very restrictive. I mean, when you compare it more broadly to other products as well and how they're sold and advertised, and actually they don't have the similar kind of limitations on them as now HFSS foods would have. So
Absolutely.
how is this going to be enforced, and what are the penalties if this becomes law?
Well, The consultation says that the Advertising Standards Authority would be the day-to-day regulator, but there is a proposal to create a new regulator that would be a backstop in much the same way that trading standards is a backstop for the ASA. But interestingly, that regulator would have greater powers than trading standards, in fact, greater powers than most other regulators, in the sense that it would be able to levy civil fines against companies. And if that company wanted to dispute those fines, it would actually have to go to court to dispute them, which is quite a radical departure from the enforcement regime for advertising in the UK.
Yes, I agree. And also actually quite a big departure for regulatory offences. So instead of going through the normal process through the criminal courts, the ability there for the regulator to actually impose that fine outright, is a big step change actually.
It is, absolutely.
And do we have any idea on levels of fine? Is there anything in the consultation? No.
No, we've got nothing on that yet. It will be one to watch.
Okay. Well, so I think it's an encouragement really to all the businesses that would be affected by this to take the opportunity to respond to the consultation. If you don't want to do it on an individual basis and you would like to make your comments anonymously, please feel free to get in touch with Katrina and I, and we will make your comments as part of our response that we will be putting into the consultation as well. But otherwise, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you, Katrina. Very helpful.
Thank you, Katie.